Hi, I'm Ken Bouvier. If you don't know me, I'm a Seattle-based flight instructor with UAV Coach. I've been flying drones for many years and flying professionally under FAA Part 107 for about 3 years now. However, I'm new to Autel drones, which is why I'm super excited that we're going to be doing a 6-part series to explore some of the new Autel drones and see how they stack up against comparable DJI models. Specifically in this video, we'll unbox and set up this Nano Plus, we'll walk through the Autel Sky app, and we'll cover some basic flight demonstrations. So let's get started. All right, so here we have it, the Autel Nano Plus. Our team here at UAV Coach is super excited to get our hands on this thing and finally begin to make some videos sharing our insights and opinions with you. Now, full disclosure here, UAV Coach has purchased this drone specifically to make this video series. Autel as a company doesn't know we're producing these videos and they have no oversight of the content. We're simply sharing our professional opinions objectively and independently. So the main reason we bought this drone is because Autel recently released a series of drones that are comparable to many of the popular DJI models. So before we dig into the features, let's begin with what's in the box. The Nano Plus Premium Bundle comes with a shoulder bag, the drone itself, a remote controller, 2 spare batteries, 3 sets of extra propellers, a multi-charger and charging cable, and the different connectors. They also have a standard package which doesn't include the shoulder bag, the spare batteries, or the multi-charger. So let's take a look at what's in the bag. So you've got the multi-charger, you've got the remote controller, got some accessories. I'm assuming the cables are in there. Like I said, it comes with 2 batteries. And then, of course, the drone itself. Oh, and it also looks like there is a charging port there. That's the shoulder bag. We'll go ahead and just put this aside for now. And we'll actually start to charge the batteries, and then we'll take a look at the drone and the controller in a little bit more detail. Okay, here we are. So the batteries are almost finished charging. I've got all 3 charging, 2 are done, 1 is just finishing up. And a note on that is that the multi-charger only charges 1 battery at a time, even though you've got 3 on there. Now the other option is you can charge a battery in the drone through the USB port here. So that's another option. You can get, have 2 on here and have 1 in here, and at least have those 2 charging at the same time. So what I'm going to do while this is still finishing up, we'll start into the controller here. So this is the Nano Plus controller. I mean, it's a pretty good feeling controller. As you can see, it's kind of a basic controller layout. You've got return to home button, you've got the power button. On the Autel drones, power is just push and hold for 3 seconds. You've got a flight pause button. You've got the joysticks, which I'll show here in a second and talk about. And you've got the phone holder here. You've also got your photo button and a function button. And then of course you have the gimbal wheel that controls the camera gimbal. Very similar to other controllers. This is going to be a little different for me because this doesn't appear to hold, to be big enough to hold a mini or iPad mini, which is what I normally use. So I'm going to probably have to use my phone. Also on here, I guess I didn't mention, you have the USB port here for charging the drone as well, or charging the controller. And you've got the LED lights here that show what the charge is at. So that's a controller. Now I mentioned the joysticks. I've seen several comments on other videos that have done reviews, and I see the same thing here where there's no place to hold the joysticks. The joysticks screw into here like other similar controllers, and you only get one set of joysticks here with this drone, and there's no place to store them on the controller, so you have to be careful with these. I don't know what you do if you lose these. I'm not sure how easy these would be to get new ones. Don't know, but anyway, so that's the point about the joysticks. In this accessories bag, I think I mentioned here's some screws that are for the propellers. You've actually got 3 extra sets of propellers, which is nice, and you've also got the data cables for the various options of connecting your phone. So we've got all those. So that's the controller. I'll get into the drone here. So the first thing you can kind of notice is there is a storage device for keeping the propeller blades in place. That just kind of comes off. And then the drone it's similar to other small drones, but the one thing I will note is that the arms all fold out instead of having to fold down. The gimbal cover is here. Now this camera is a 4K HDR video camera at 30 frames per second. It takes 50 megapixel photos. It's a 1/1.28 CMOS sensor, which is a little bit bigger than some of the other ones. Again, it is a drone that's 249 grams. So if you're using it as a recreational drone, you don't have to register it in the United States. One thing about the camera that one of the selling points that Autel advertises is a new technology called RYYB, which is supposed to let in 40% more light. So the drone, they claim, is better for night use. So that's a positive. We'll test that probably a little bit later on. Maybe not test the night flight, but we'll do some things there. So some other things to note about the drone: it does have obstacle avoidance sensors in the front, in the rear, and then also on the bottom. So that's unique for the smaller type of drones. It's got a fan on here that helps to cool the electronics on the drone as well. You got an LED. Again, this is one where the battery goes into the back, slides in, clicks in, and you've got the LED light there, and propellers are all installed with screws, kind of standard small drone type of installation. Overall, it looks pretty nice. Okay, so now we've got everything charged up. Got the controller charged up, got all 3 batteries. I'm going to go ahead and install the battery back into the drone, and we're going to go ahead and take off the rest of the stickers that are on the drone. And what we'll do is power up the drone and the controller, and we'll need to do a firmware update. Autel just recently issued a major update, major firmware update for the Autel drones. So we will get that installed, and then we can get going. So the other thing I didn't mention is that you want to make sure you get the Autel Sky app downloaded and ready to go. So I've got that on here already, and I did confirm that this will not fit an iPad mini. So that's kind of a bummer for me. I like to use my iPad mini, but we'll make it work. So the first thing I do, like I said, I've got the Autel app up and running, and I just installed it on the controller, got the cable plugged in, and I'll go ahead and start up the controller. And you can see that it's connected by the little charging indicator there. And then you'll be prompted to have some permission requests here. You just want to go ahead and click OK there. And once the drone is powered on, you'll be asked to activate the drone. Once it's activated, you should be prompted to update to the latest firmware. And as I mentioned earlier, Autel released a very significant upgrade which provides many fixes and new features. The fixes are, they fixed the video jello and gimbal unlevel, added speed priority and video priority to the sport mode or the ludicrous mode, increased number of frame rates available, manual focus, and then photo resolution up to 50 megapixels. That was part of this update. So once that's done, we're ready to start flying. So let's head outside. When you first power on the controller, you'll notice that you get the charging indication in the app. I've seen comments in other reviews of this drone that the controller does not charge your phone, and I can confirm it does in fact charge your phone. When you turn on the drone, the start button will be enabled. Once you click start, the camera view will be initialized. So let's walk through the app. Starting at the top left corner, this is your home page. That takes you back to the main screen. The next selection is your flight mode. This can be toggled between smooth, standard, and ludicrous. Smooth is for slower cinematic flying. Standard is your normal everyday flying. And ludicrous is your high-speed sport mode. Next is your device status. This tells you the status of the drone. Here you'll see various warning information. If it is displayed, you can select it and it will show you what the warnings are. In this case, the primary one here is about calibrating the compass. Next is your signal strength, showing both GPS and controller signal strength. Then you see your controller battery level, then the aircraft battery level, and the remaining estimated flight time based on the battery level. Next is your obstacle avoidance indication. If you click on that, you get a warning that if you turn off your obstacle avoidance, you got to be careful. The next one is your settings. Let's start with the safety settings. At the top, you have a button that you can turn on or off your novice mode. That simply restricts your altitude limit, distance limit, speed limit. When not in novice mode, you can control your max altitude, your distance limit, your return to home altitude. In the United States, your max altitude should always be less than 400 feet. Your return to home altitude should be based on the obstacles in your flight path. Then is your home point. You can set this to have your home point be you, where the controller is. You can have it as the aircraft, and it will, when you're taking off, it will set the home point as your takeoff spot. And you can customize it as well. Next down is your compass calibration, then IMU calibration, your battery information, locate my drone, and then advanced settings. Under advanced settings is where you can turn on or off your obstacle avoidance. As I mentioned, you can also do it from the main screen. You can also control whether you fly using GPS or not, where you can take off in attitude mode. The next one down is control. The units in the United States, we use Imperial. The command stick mode is defaults for mode 2, which is standard for most cases. You also have flight mode, where we talked about you can switch between smooth, standard, and ludicrous. And again, you'll get a pop-up if you select ludicrous. Under both smooth and standard, you'll see the gimbal pitch speed and the aircraft turn speed. Those are slightly different depending on the selection. When you select ludicrous, you now get a mode selection to prioritize either video or speed. So you can set the priority depending on what you're doing with that mode. You can customize your remote control buttons. You can do an remote control calibration. Gimbal mode, either stabilized or FPV, first person view. You can also enable the gimbal pitch adjustment to extend an additional 15 degrees. You can do a manual adjustment and then gimbal calibration if needed. And then gimbal angle, this allows you to quickly either center it straight ahead or point it straight down by going through here. You can set some of these things as a function to do with the function button as well. Camera, this is where you can format your SD card. You can actually enable audio recording during video shooting. Video buffering, you can set up what you want to see on the screen in the grid. Photo format, you can take JPEG, RAW, or both. Won't go through all these at the moment. It does have a defog, which I'm not familiar with. It says it enables you to get a better image in rainy or hazy environments. You have the anti-flicker, overexposure warning. You can add timestamp on your photos or videos. You can have a custom watermark, and then camera reset. Under image transmission, this is where you can set how you want the images that come back to the app that you see on the screen. You can see the various settings here. I'm not going to go into that right now, but you can see that you can change those. You can also do image transmission background effect. It has a transmission background glass. It may affect your performance, so something to keep aware of. About, this is where you can see the information, like your firmware that's on here, the app version, your battery serial number, aircraft serial number, remote control serial number, and gimbal serial number. So coming back over, that was the settings. Next is the information button. This is where you can get information about each of these settings, each of these selections on the screen. You can turn that on or off. Then you have your shot settings, where you can see where it says in this case video settings, because we're on video, your resolution, frame rate, and you can select taking photos while shooting video. Then you have your shooting mode. You have your standard photo and video. You have hyperlapse, which then gives you manual or orbit. You have panorama, so you can do spherical, wide angle, landscape, portrait. You have pro, which allows you to set one of 4 shooting modes: automatic, manual, and shutter priority mode. You also have portrait, and then quick shot. The Nano Plus has 4 quick shots: orbit, rocket, fadeaway, and flick. Then of course you have the shooting button. You have your album page here. Coming around to the other side, you have your map, where you can switch that between small and large. You also have an attitude indicator that displays the current aircraft position, the nose orientation, the operator position, home point position, and flight status parameters. It will show you the height of the drone and the distance of the drone from you, as well as the speeds. You have a gimbal pitch indicator showing you the degrees of pitch, and then your takeoff and landing button. When you're on the ground with the drone off, you have no selection. If the drone is started and ready to go, you'll be able to push and hold that, and then you slide to the right to get it to take off. This is also your return to home button within the app. So that's it as far as a run through of the app. Before taking off, you should calibrate the compass. On the Autel drones, there are 3 steps to calibrate the compass. The first one is to rotate the aircraft 360 degrees horizontally around the vertical axis. The second is to rotate the aircraft 360 degrees vertically around the longitudinal axis. And last is to rotate the aircraft 360 degrees horizontally around the lateral axis. So let's get started with some basic flight maneuvers. As long as you leave the command stick mode in mode 2, the left joystick controls thrust and yaw, and the right joystick controls pitch and roll. To get the drone in the air, you can take off automatically using the takeoff button in the app, or manually by starting the motors, then moving the left joystick upward. Unless you've selected attitude mode under the advanced system settings, the drone should maintain a stable hover when letting go of the joystick. The drone speed is substantially different in each of the flight modes. Smooth moves slowly and works well for cinematic maneuvers. Standard allows you to get good shots and get to locations quickly. And Ludicrous moves extremely fast and will take practice to get good video footage. If you want to get the drone to a location quickly, this mode will do that, but you have to use extreme caution if operating in Ludicrous mode. Basic training maneuvers should be conducted in smooth or standard. Return to home can be accomplished through the app by holding the return to home button and then slide.
Aircraft is returning home.
Return to home can also be accomplished on the controller by using the return to home button.
Aircraft is returning home.
The drone won't always return to the exact spot where it took off, so you have to be aware of where it's landing.
Stop recording.
Well, in my limited time with the Autel Nano Plus, it seems that the drone is very capable for a drone that's just 249 grams. As you can see, the photos and video footage are actually very good. The drone was easy to get up in the air for my first time flying an Autel drone, and I was able to find everything in the app without too much trouble. The controller felt good in my hands, and the controls seemed responsive. The return to home accuracy wasn't the best I've seen, but it wasn't too bad. I used all 3 batteries and had about 44% left on the controller charge. I do wish the controller would accommodate an iPad mini though, but I don't know, it might be too heavy that way. The drone did get a little unstable a couple of times and there wasn't much wind, but we'll see with more testing. Overall, this is a very nice drone, especially for its size and its weight. In my next video, I'll be getting into the functions and features a bit more, and we'll be comparing the Nano to the DJI Mini SE, so keep an eye out for that. Alright, that's all for this video. So from all of us here at UAV Coach, we wish you blue skies and safe flying. We'll see you soon.